Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. This show is all about life transformations and our journey from where we were to why we are doing what we are doing today. We will discuss the hiccups, the roller coasters, and the blood, sweat, and tears that has been poured out while discovering our purpose. It is all about our transformations. Here is your host, Sean Douglas.
Good afternoon and good evening. Welcome to another episode. Amazing about innovation catalyst, which I'm super pumped to talk to him about. So welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Sean. It's a great honor to speak to you.
I am super excited to have you on the show. We had some shows scheduled for last year, and I know I've been a lot of different growth and movements, and I'm sure that you have too. So I'm excited to catch up from where we left off last year and figure out where you are now. So yeah, I'm super pumped about that. And to the listeners that are listening, I am your host, Master Resilience Implementer, TEDx speaker, and positioning strategist, Sean Douglas. This show is heard in over 90 countries. So if you're joining us or you've been listening to us for some time, I want to around the world. Life Transformation Radio is all about our transformation. This is where we tell the stories of why we're doing what we're doing, changed our lives, and how we use them to then transform others and elevate the world around us. We are live Tuesday through Friday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time in over 90 countries. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Whether you're live on the chat or watching us on your favorite podcast, subscribe to the show, tell your friends, and share the episode. Everybody who you think would need it. This show is on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spreaker, Spotify, Overcast, Spox, Google, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel at Life Transformation Video. If you have any questions for any of the guests that I bring on the show, give us a call, 383-1109. Again, the number 1109. With that, man, I'm excited to dive in. So you are an expert with STEM and workplace readiness and is around the world for...
Yes, I have really been blessed to be around a lot of people. And through my experiences, not only have I learned a lot, but I felt like I've shared a lot. And,
educate,
that's
leadership.
what really life is about.
Yeah, man. Dr. Smith has over 2 decades of experience in the classroom as a mathematics teacher and administrator. He has developed a passion for where he has shared his knowledge as an adjunct professor of Old Dominion University and Christopher Newport University. He and his work have been referenced over 30 times to teachthought.com. Or STEM School. And his book, Blank Check, Recreating America's Broken Schools, Dr. Smith is now an expert consultant on leading communities, school districts, and schools to transform educational systems to initiate, grow, and sustain the creation of a pipeline of workforce-ready graduates, thanks to his 5-point STEPS initiative. His passion for workplace readiness and STEM has been shared on the local, state, and national levels, and he's received the WHRO Technology Administrator Award and the Crystal Star Award from the National Dropout Prevention Center. You can go to AaronSmithPhD.com, check him out, learn everything you can about him, and connect with him. Send him a friend request on your favorite social media platform. with all that said, man, I got to know, what is your why? Why do you do what you do?
I feel like I was blessed to have a lot of people take care of me early on in my life. I was a very active child. And yet I felt like I was compelled to do a lot of things. And in my high school, I was surrounded by 3 phenomenal math teachers. Of course, played baseball, had some incredible mentors between the lines. And through my journey, I then felt like the need to call back and help others. And the way that I did that was I started working as a teacher, teaching 7th and 8th grade math, then transitioning to high school, and just felt the passion. There's just nothing like seeing a kid get it for the first time when, nobody's ever explained it to them in one approach. And to me, it's my way of helping the community back.
I love that. And spending 20 years in the military, when you teach somebody something and you see their eyes light up and they get it, that's an amazing feeling. Amazing.
It is. It is, because you feel like you're helping them along their journey. And, to me, that's our mission in life, is to help one another in life. And what comes around goes around. These kids that I teach and I work with could be the next doctors for my children, for my grandchildren. Mm-hmm. So I would want them to have the best. And the only way I can feel like they're going to get the best is to give those children that I teach my best.
That's a great way of thinking about it. Because you're training the next man up. Well,
you have to. I mean, to me, failure's not an option. And you know that in the military. And to me, education is the same way of life. We are on a different battlefront where we're trying to eradicate poverty, homelessness. We're trying to increase the quality of life. And sadly, a lot of people don't get it. Unfortunately, society doesn't place a value on education like they should. And then on the flip side of it, you've got teachers who are doing everything they can, especially now during COVID, just trying to keep the fire going, just trying to maintain contact so that the kids feel like they're connected in some way, shape, or form. And it's not easy. And to me, my heart goes out to everybody, from the parents who are trying to make sure their children learn, to the teachers, to everybody. I mean, it truly is a worldwide effort to make it a top priority.
School lunches. Some of these kids rely on school lunches. Some of those kids rely on school lunches. I mean, you talk about heartbreaking, and talking about the kids and people you work with, and I keep thinking there's actual backpack programs where kids will take a backpack home for food and then bring the backpack back on Monday, because this is the only food that they're going to eat, because they live in such poverty. And you had mentioned that there is a poverty level in some of these schools that is just unheard of. And when you said something about, breaking your heart, instantaneously I was like, some of these kids, man, when they're out for the summer, they may not be eating.
Yeah, and the sad reality is they're not, and thankfully there has been some valiant attempts to try to get children at least get meals through the summer. And depending on localities, they would certainly do their best, whether it's after-school programs. But I can certainly say a lot of schools have kind of beefed up that part of the budgets to make sure children at least are getting meals. And sometimes they may have to go to another school, it's not necessarily nearby, but at least they have that opportunity. And I'm appreciative of that, because otherwise, who knows when they'll get their next hot meal.
Thought I lost you for a second.
Oh, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought I lost you. It kind of went dark for a second.
Gotcha.
I'd like to know about your transformation moment. The show is all about our transformations. So what is your transformational moment that changed your life and put you on the path of what you're doing today?
You know, it really happened about 12 years ago. And this is when I was a principal and I was reassigned to be an assistant principal. It was a profound moment in my life where, you know, you don't know where to go, you don't know where to turn, but I just try to remain calm in the moment. And I had to redefine myself. I had to re-see my core issues, my interest. And over the next couple of years, as an assistant principal, they allowed me to become a person who was responsible for overseeing freshman dropout prevention and recovery. That's what they call the silent epidemic. And thankfully, we had created ways to increase that through multiple, what's the word I'm thinking of, interventions, and teams get together. And fast forward, I progressed to a place called Aviation Academy where I'm learning STEM. And through that STEM, I'm able to not only see things like technology, but understand the needs of the workforce and the development and making sure that everybody has what they need to get to that next level to be successful.
Oh, I love that. And how has that translated into what you do now?
So through the journey, I actually wrote my first book about 5 years ago. It was called Awakening Your STEM School. And basically it was just little stories that I put together and little formulas to help any school, no matter where they were along the STEM spectrum, to become advanced. And it was during that time that I really felt like I found out the secret to making sure how businesses need to talk to schools, how we as schools need to make sure we're updating and refining curriculum so that the essential skills are taught. We're talking about the soft skills. We're talking about the critical thinking, the problem solving, the things that all the Fortune 500 companies want to hear and see in their employees. And, you know, to me, it was like a eureka moment. And right after Awakening, I had really went out and had a beer with a friend because, you know, great conversations happen when alcohol's around. And through that time, we had said, what are we going to do? What am I going to do? And that is where we talked about the discussion of another STEM book. And my friend Bud Ramey, who helped me write the first book, he says, why are you writing another cookbook? And I looked at him kind of funny. He says, dare to dream, inspire, do something that's going to make people think about the way things are presented in schools today. So throughout the next week, we kind of tossed things back and forth, and then a conversation just came up out of the blue. What if we could give a blank check to every school? And there were no restrictions. They could do whatever they wanted to do in terms of making it right for the kids. And that's how Blank Check came to life, is that it takes a burnout principal and a troubled teen who overcomes opioid, who has to deal with a lot of adversity, and they pair together to win back the community and show them by making education the top priority that their community is restored and their economy is advanced.
Okay. I like where this is going. I really like where this is going.
And really, that's the secret. Is, you know, when we want our children to succeed, as a parent, we're going to give them everything within our power. And if our children are our most precious commodity, why aren't we giving them that? It's so much easier to train a child than to repair an adult. And I'm paraphrasing from Frederick Douglass. Because
Yep.
when you teach a child and you inspire a child, you correct so many things or you prevent so many things that can happen down their pathway. We can prevent them from going to prison, or we can hopefully reduce them. We can hopefully eliminate the thought of them joining into gangs or teenage pregnancies, heaven forbid, becoming dead. You know, I don't want kids to become statistics. I want kids to become stories. And that's what I'm about, and that's what Blank Check should be about, is making stories and showing success.
I saw a report.
No matter what background you've had.
Yeah. I agree, 100%. I saw a report a couple of days ago that said that because the kids were not in school, that the hotlines for sexual abuse, sexual assault, assaults, abuse in general, have gone down, and they're thinking that some of these things are going unreported. Some of these sexual, like a teacher, a principal, a parent, like somebody who sees the kids every day, they would report things in social services, and they would do their job, right? Well, if the kids are not in school, or if they're locked down or whatever, that's not happening. So abuse could be happening in the home, and nobody would even know about it.
It's very possible, and especially children don't know who to call or what to do. But part of a teacher's background is to identify when child neglect could be there, child endangerment, and that's part of our protocols, is to make that a number one priority in keeping them safe. And you're right, when we don't see them, heaven forbid, some of the stories that could be happening right now in this very moment. I learned from an assistant principal years ago. She said, kids don't care about what you know until they know that you care. And when kids know that you care, they will tell you things that inspire them, things that worry them, and sadly, sometimes things that happen to them. And we can't be their best friends. We have to be their champions. We have to rise up and make sure we protect them in every way, shape, and form possible. When they're at home, unfortunately, sometimes we're just not able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you've nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Great.
You there, Sean?
America's Broken. So you've got the books, like Awakening Your STEM School and Check, Recreating America's Broken Schools. How do you elevate the world around you? You're doing so much amazing work with workplace readiness and STEM, which is becoming, I don't want to say more mainstream, but more understood, or more, I don't know if accepted is the right word, but you hear a lot about it, right? People are talking more about it. How do you feel like you elevate the world around you?
I try to put it in a way so that hopefully people understand why it's important. And STEM is just more than an acronym. It really is the fusing of 4 industries, as well as the arts, creativity, and where kids can become creative. It becomes an opportunity for them to become better and more advanced. And what we're doing is we're planting seeds so that when they become leaders in the workplace, they have that creativity already aligned. And STEM is really the backbone to the 4th Industrial Revolution. That's the economy, the sputtering economy right now that we're in. And that's what drives the technology, the information wave that we're seeing, AI, big data, the metrics that we see from the use of social media. And we have to do a better job along this continuum so that everybody not only understands it, but takes a role in the development and advancement of it.
I 100% agree. Yeah. What's your message to those listening right now who may not know what STEM is, or when you talk about awakening your STEM school, what's your message for them?
So, number one, you've got to get involved. And a lot of times parents don't realize that being involved is being as simple as a phone call away, understanding what their children want to be when they grow up, allowing them to explore careers. But more importantly, we have to raise and increase the number of minorities in STEM professions. We have to increase the number of bilingual speaking, especially numbers that are going multicultural. We also have to increase our women in STEM professions. You know, these three areas are far underutilized. And I look at this, these are three huge resources that can help really drive back the economy and accelerate it to the next level. These guys could help find the cure for COVID, for cancer, you know, to make astounding brand new breakthroughs in technology and research. You know, it's just we have to make sure they're in a position to not only bring it in, own it, but be proud of it.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I know when I gave my TEDx talk in 2017, there was somebody who was, I think, 15 or 16 talking about STEM and their schools and the work that she has done. And just in the last 3 years, I've seen more and more and more people talking about STEM, talking about how it's helped, you know, an entire community of children, you know, rise up and I think that's absolutely amazing. And what a great title for a book too, right? Like Awakening Your STEM School. Like it just feels good. It's like like a phoenix, like rising from the ashes. Like awaken your STEM. Like I love the title, by the way.
Thank you. So yeah, I mean, it's just when, and I'm sure you know this, is when you're writing an important topic, paper, book, there's two things that hook people instantly. One is the title, and the other is the design of the cover. And that said, it had been, I think, weeks trying to develop the perfect title for it. And when we sat down and wrote it, I remember it was my publisher, Bud, who was helping me co-write the book, the editor. We just sat down and we tossed out ideas, and we just looked at each other when we saw it. And we were like, that's it. You know, and you're right. It just was a feel-good moment once you knew that you hit the home run. Are you there, Sean?
Yep, gotcha. Yeah, I'm having a weird, like it cuts off on me and then cuts back. I don't know. Skype's being weird today. Probably because the whole world is on lockdown and everybody's using the internet today. Or my kids are using all the Wi-Fi.
It is. I actually had to get next to the router to boost up the signal. So I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, man. So what's next for you for 2020? I mean, you're absolutely crushing it on state and national levels. What's next for you and for 2020?
Well, I think right now my heart feels like I need to stay focused on distance learning and showing schools that there's an easier way to build a mousetrap and hopefully show them the things that I've learned, the research that I'm seeing in, and making it more engaging for kids. When I look at distance learning, whether it's in the corporate sector, whether it's the college, or even I would say grades 6 through 12, because I'm a little leery of distance learning for, you know, elementary students. There's 4 main components to it. One is you have to do a little bit of different planning and what we call differentiation. What you teach in class is not the same way you teach online. And you've got to call an audible and make those adjustments. And then you have to make sure that it is being delivered in the right way, in the right approach through that platform. Whether it's Google, whether it's Canvas, Blackboard, whatever have you, you've got to make sure the components fit in and they're able to receive it. And through that process, you want to make sure that you have good engagement going on and making sure kids not only understand it, but can recite it back to you and bring it all the way around and take the feedback that you get. The feedback that you get from the platform, parents, if you will, the assignments the students get, and you keep integrating it so that it becomes quicker, more efficient, more reliant, so that you are evolving as the technology is making things more advanced for everybody.
Got it. Right on, man. That's absolutely no words, man. That's absolutely incredible. Absolutely. I just feel like so much uncertainty right now. Even my kids ask me, like, Dad, what do you think's going to happen? And I'm like, like, right?
Yeah.
Like, all the homeschool moms are like, haha, welcome to my world. So, like,
right.
This is nothing for them. This is like another day at the office, but all people who rely on public schools and private schools and everybody, they're like, what are we doing? Right? So their life's on hold.
They're on hold, but I think what's equally alarming is that you got a digital divide going on, not only in America, but across the world.
Mm-hmm.
You already have a degree of separation from not being in the classroom. So think about those that are affected who don't have internet, consistent Wi-Fi, a device to even type on, and it's only going to separate the gap even more unless there's a concerted effort across the world to eliminate and eradicate that digital divide. The other aspect to it is you've got to make sure that the parents at home have to understand teachers don't expect them to be teachers, but there are some common things that we would expect them to do. Make sure their child's up and focused and not on their phone, not on Facebook, and they're participating in their activities and they're balancing everything else. And also making sure they have questions answered, not necessarily just, sitting there taking it all in and feeling clueless. We want to make sure our parents have accessibility. We want to make sure our parents understand what we're trying to get our children to learn, but we also want them to tell us how we can help them serve our kids too.
No, 100%. Yeah, we have a 6-year-old that just graduated kindergarten. They said that even though they've been out of school since end of March, that she is so well ahead. I mean, she could be in the multi-age program. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Mm-hmm. So we're really going to work with her like all the time, math, all the time. I mean, so that if we do go back to school in September or whatever, she's well prepared. I mean, really prepared. And if we do the distance learning, then we do the distance. And we homeschooled our 17-year-old, and he's taking online right now. So he's going to graduate and college with like degree, like, so I'll have a high school diploma, plus he'll have college credits and stuff like that, right? So it's part of the homeschool program. So that's why I say, like, all the homeschool moms are laughing at the public school moms, going, "Why are you freaking out? Like, what's the matter?" Like, they've done this for years. Like, they've got this, right? So, it's just, everybody made fun of the homeschool kid, like, oh, he was homeschooled, like, well, who's laughing now? Mm-hmm. You had to homeschool your kid for 2 months, and I've seen so many posts like, I hate this, please go back to school. Like, oh God, it was funny. Oh, so funny. But that's what, I mean, you got to grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Part of growing.
I mean, it is part of growing. Things that you don't think that are going to happens to you. You just got to sit there and not stew on it and not pout about it. Just roll up your sleeves and just dig in and fix it. You fix it to the best of your ability and you keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I'd like to know, as we start to close the show, about STEM. For somebody who doesn't know what STEM is, we keep referencing it, and you have your initiative. So I'd love to talk about those. What is STEM, and what is your 5-point STEP initiative?
So STEM basically brings the community, the business partners, the local, state government agencies, and also the schools together so that there's common language and, more importantly, common opportunities. And rather than dealing with it in silos, there's a systematic approach, whereas if we start off with a needs assessment to determine what companies need in terms of employees, in terms of skill sets, and things like that, and then tied into the discussions so that you build goals and objectives from it. Through this goals and objective, you do a quick inventory of things that are available in the schools, in the community, in businesses. And what's not available is that you reach out through grant writing, corporate funding, sponsorships, and through that, that's when you begin to implement it. And through the implementation, not only is it focused more or less for schools, but it also needs to be focused for the corporate K-12 corporate sector as well. And I bring that in because some of the best training that professionals in corporate America have gotten come from teachers. They're the ones dealing with neurodiverse students, students with deficiencies, reading comprehension areas, things like that, chance for them to bridge some of the things that they may not see day in and day out. And once you do this and you continue this for years, you're going to find out that kids aren't leaving the area to go find jobs. You're going to find people coming back home. You're going to find the economy improving. You're going to see more interest in schools. It's just a win-win all around for everybody. And that's what the 5-point STEM process does, is it connects diplomas to dollars.
Okay. How so?
So when you think about a typical graduate, they typically go into a job, maybe a short training period, but how many of them are actually still clueless on the job? I know I was.
A lot.
And part of the reason was, part of the reason was that teachers didn't consistently put in real-world applications into the curriculum. There were skills not in the high school, middle school curriculum that should have been embedded in there. So with corporations and businesses talk to schools and they talk to the districts, they need to make sure that conversation is not only there at the table, but also provide them with examples and show them in the factories how it's being done. Provide internships for kids. Provide scholarship opportunities for kids not only to go to work during the day, but maybe take online classes at night. And it's the bridging of the two. That's what creates the harmony and allows especially impoverished and socioeconomically challenged people to gain on these opportunities.
Love it. Man, I love what you're up to. I love what you're doing. And it's so needed, man. You turn on the news, which I really don't even do anymore, or you look on social media and it's just one thing after another, and it's like, I just keep thinking about the kids. Like I have a 12-year-old, so I got 17, 12.
You got a full house.
And it's just, I keep thinking about like what's going to happen. So I've got the homeschool behind me. I know how to teach and train. But am I doing it in the way that is best for them? Because what I'm not trained in, to a point, for the most part, is like in psychology, and I try to capitalize on their strengths and try to become aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I am qualified in that part. But as far as like actually being a teacher and like knowing how to teach and train like a child, my patience is not there. It is not where it needs to be.
Well, that would be the same for me going in the military. I couldn't do it, and that's why my hat's off to the soldiers that are doing what they're doing. You know, and I think that's where our own gifts are, is finding out what makes you successful. And you're so right, Sean. Once you find out how everybody learns, you know, Howard Gardner defines 8 multiple intelligences. You've got the kinesthetic, the hands-on, if you will, the linguistic, and all the other modalities. But you also have to tie in activity. Kinesthetic, yep. You tie in Edward Dale's cone of learning, where it's like 10% of what we see, we remember. And if you go up that triangle, if you will, you'll see 90% of information is retained from seeing, acting, thinking, forwarding, and tying in all the things from the modalities that Howard Gardner identified. You know, every kid thinks different. Every kid's wired differently. We're wired differently. And we have to tap into their strengths to get the connection started. And then you start diversifying it once they're able to have that solid connection established and continuous. Then that's how you broaden and strengthen the other areas that they're lacking in.
Love it. Love it. Oh, man, that's awesome. I want to thank you for your time.
Are you there, Sean?
I feel like, I just want to thank you for your time with all the technology stuff. Great information that was shared, and I feel like you're on those front lines, man, and really stepping up for our next generation. So I want to thank you for that.
Well, the honor is mine. Thanks for having me be a part of your show. You know, I've been keeping up with you for a couple of years now. You're doing some great things yourself, and I feel like I'm learning just like you're learning. So it's really an honor.
Thank you so much, man. And I just wish you the best for the rest of 2020. If there's anything I can ever do to help you, aid you, it's a yes for me. So, I care about what you're doing. So let me know, and, we'll make it happen.
Thank you. Same here, Sean. I'm a phone call away if you ever need me.
Yeah. Thank you. Life Transformation Radio listeners, an amazing guest impacting the world around him. If anything has resonated with our conversation today with Dr. Aaron Smith on Life Transformation Radio, please reach out to him at Aaron, AARON, Smith, PhD.com. Check him out. See what he's up to. He's all over social media. He's everywhere that you want to be. So go check him out. See what he's up to. Send him a friend request on your favorite social media platform and get to know him and see what he's up to. Go buy his book, Awakening Your STEM School, and Blank Check, Recreating America's Broken Schools. Go check those books out. They're available everywhere where books are sold. And with that, I close the show by saying live your brand. Find opportunities every day to live out the core values that you hold deep in your heart. And I call this living your brand. So until next episode, live a great life.